Hello, this is Dr. Matania, your Math 1000 instructor. Wanted to give you a quick update. This is week 9 or 10, something like that. Got a few things on the agenda here. You got an online quiz that is coming up due Friday at midnight. And again, the rule on the quizzes that I think is working out well, it's encouraging you to get those done ahead of time, is you get 3 attempts if taken by the due date and 1 attempt after the due date. Okay, hopefully you find that fair. So do your best to get that done before Friday. That way you'll get multiple attempts. Not only multiple attempts, but once you take it once, I know you're getting tired of me saying this, hit the study plan. It'll generate problems for you to practice based on the ones that you missed. And then repeat the quiz again. And this way you'll actually do better. I can see on some of on the grade book that some of you do the quiz once, and then without even looking at it, I can tell you didn't even have time to review it. You do it again. And some of you on the 5-1, 5-2 quiz spent less than 3 minutes taking it. You didn't do so well. I mean, it would take me, and I'm pretty good at these, it would take me at least 8 or 9 minutes to go through some of those. So take your time. I think I put an artificial time limit of like 60 minutes on it. So you've got plenty of time to go through those, okay? But you got a 5-3, 5-5 quiz coming up due. Should be a little bit easier, not quite as tedious as the 5-1, 5-2. 5-1, 5-2 is definitely the most challenging part. I think most of the test, which is next week, by the way, revolves around those 2 sections. So make sure you're good with the exponents and negative exponents. That's the trickiest thing. What else? So you have to practice those. I will try to create maybe a quick little practice sheet just for the exponents. Maybe I can get that done today for you so you can practice your 5-1 and 5-2. The other part of the chapter is on FOIL, which is if you're typically the mnemonic we remember if we're multiplying 2 binomials, first, outer, inner, last. We also are adding polynomials and subtracting. So make sure you pay attention to the symbol that's in between those 2 parentheses. What else? The test is November 10th. And again, if you can get it done by that due date, you get 5 extra points added onto your test. You have a 3-day grace period, and then you can do within that without any penalty. And for that, there's a penalty. So make sure you get it done at least by the 13th. But try to get done by the 10th so you get those extra points. Some of you are still not taking the midterm yet. And I know you got a lot of stuff going on, but the problem now is that once you get it taken, is that you'll have less time to do the last 2 chapters. Now, the last 2 chapters aren't quite as hard as the first 2 chapters, but still, there's a lot of material to go through. So for those of you who have not done the midterm and are planning on doing it, really be aware of that. You will need to really be a hawk with your time the next 4 or 5 weeks so you can get everything done. Because the final exam, I mean, we're somewhat flexible on deadlines until the final. That final has to be done by Monday, December 13th, as I recall. It's on the syllabus. Hold on a second, let me look. Yes, Monday, December 13th. If you will get that scheduled by next Friday, so just register for it from the testing centers at the testing center, I will drop your second lowest or your lowest quiz again. So most of you got registered for the midterm to get your first quiz dropped. I will drop a second quiz. The online quizzes, if I'm being honest, are probably the lowest parts of some of your averages. So this should be a good incentive for you to get registered soon. Some of you waited like maybe 2 days before the midterm to register, and that time slot was filled up. You didn't have a way to do it. So get that done now. Go ahead and start planning to get that final exam done. Now, the final exam, as I mentioned before, I will replace your lowest grade, your lowest test grade, but I will not replace a zero test grade. So you have to take the midterm. Do not take the midterm if you've not taken that yet. But I'll use the final exam to replace your lowest test grade. Okay? I put the final exam is weighted how it says on the syllabus, but I will, if it helps you, I will sometimes weight that a little bit more. I can do that directly by replacing your lowest test grade. But in some sense, I don't really care when the material is learned, so long as by the end of the semester the material is learned. So if you had a light bulb moment where everything sort of came together in Chapter 5, some of the stuff we did from 2 and 3 started to pull together since math builds on itself. I don't want to really heavily penalize you for not knowing it at the beginning of the semester. I want you to know it at the end of the semester. That's when I really care about it. So I do put a lot of weight into that final. I've weighted that directly from the syllabus, and I also will replace your lowest test grade. So that's giving the final exam a good, 35% of the weight, and I can even weight it more, particularly if you do well on it. If you bust an A on that final and your average ends up coming out a B, I'm very likely to give you the A. Okay, particularly if you've done everything, and I can see this sort of steady progression of learning material. That's what it's all about. What else? Extra quiz, yes. Registration's coming up soon for your next math class. Both of them are offered online. You'll either need to take 1010K online or 1710K online. Both these are done by very competent instructors. They use very similar video lecture techniques that I do. I don't think they require that you watch them, but they don't measure them like I do. I make you take the video lecture quiz. I don't think they know how to do that, so they don't do that, but they still have the video lectures. They're very well done. Both courses are good. It depends on what your major is as to which one you take. 1010K is done by Dr. Linda Clark, and the 1710K is done by Dr. Lawana Fisher. So I know registration's coming up. I believe those are both PODs. You have to get permission to get enrolled into those. So make sure you go ahead and do that before they fill up. And they do fill up, but you have a cap on this. Just because there aren't a finite number of seats doesn't mean we just let enrollment go to whatever. So if you have any questions, definitely send me an email. And I hope you watch this video, if you find them useful, to kind of encourage you to come on. We only have four and a half weeks left. If you can get that final done early, you can do it before Thanksgiving, for all I'm concerned about. It's already up. It's already available. You still have to take that practice. One more thing I want to say. A lot of you, not a lot of you, but a few of you, maybe, I don't say how many, but a few of you try to take the midterm without getting at least a 50 on the practice midterm. You have to get at least a 50 on the practice test before you can take the test. This goes for every test. And the reason for this is simple, right? I mean, students who, let's say you barely met that threshold, you got 55 on the midterm, practice midterm, you're probably not going to do much better on the midterm. I mean, the practice test reflects the test. In fact, it's probably going to be a little harder because it's a little more pressure. You don't have the luxury of being able to use your notes and books. You still get to have a little note card, 3x5 note card on the final, so you can use that to put notes, examples, etc. But a little more pressure. So you want to do that midterm, the practice test, over again until you get the grade you want to get on the test, and then take the test. So again, strategy is take the practice test. This is for all of them, right? Take the practice test. Look and see what you missed. Review it. Hit the study plan. It generates problems to do based on the ones you missed, and then retake the practice test again. Repeat until you get the grade on the practice test that you want to get on the test. Then take the test. This takes time, right? I mean, it takes a lot of time. Hours, days, weeks, right? So some students say, I studied 4 hours for that test. I'll be honest, that's not a whole lot. I mean, I spend more time making the test out, even with the electronic ways that we have to make them out, where I just select problems. They take a lot of time. So start studying for the final now, in a sense. Start studying for the test over 5 now, as soon as we start doing the materials, when you start preparing for it, okay? Well, that's all I got. So it went a little long this time, but we're coming close to the end. Hang in there. Those of you who are still with us, most of you are doing well and are keeping up. Particularly those of you watching the video that I'm doing here. I think only 11 people watched the last one, so I hope more of you are watching this one. Again, my name is Dr. McDaniel. I appreciate you being in this class and working as hard as you can. It's almost over. You're going to do well.